up, beautiful souls? On this episode, we dive into how to build generational wealth and to develop hard assets. The blueprint is laid out for you with 30 years of experience. And the key is you got to get started. You got to find a niche. You got to know exactly what niche you're going into, and then you got to just start doing it. And Ben Reinberg, it was a treat to have him. He has embodied this wisdom and he's sharing it with you and for ourselves, for our children, for such an important inflection point in humanity's history. Let's dive into this episode on how to create generational wealth with hard assets for what is to come here. So check it out with Ben Reinberg. What's up, beautiful souls? Welcome to another episode of the Spiritual Psychiatrist Podcast. Met our guest today, special guest. We're going to talk about building generational wealth. He's wrote a book, Hard Assets, Hard Money for Hard Times, and he's going to lay down a blueprint on how to create generational wealth, not only for yourself, but for your children, but for the future. And last time that we met up, we were actually receiving stem cells. And I got to talk to him a little bit and I could feel his frequency, his grounded frequency, also the sacred kind of why behind what he's building, the empire that he's building. And he's not a lot of people are out there like laying down the blueprint on how to do this. A lot of people talk about it, but in a grounded, centered way. So I'm super grateful to have Ben Reinberg, who is here with us today on the show. Welcome, Ben. Thanks for being here.
Thank you, Dr. Sam. What a privilege to be here. I can't wait to add value to your audience and very grateful to see you and spend some time with you. So thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Thanks for being here, brother. Man, I just want to dive right into it. You've been building generational wealth. You just wrote a book, Hard Money, Hard Assets for Hard Times. Can you share with us your sacred why behind, for such an interesting time in humanity's history right now? I feel like there's nothing more exciting than the right idea, the right book at the right time. And for some reason, for me on an intuitive level, this feels like the right book, the right message at the right time for such an interesting time in humanity's history. Can you tell us a little bit more about this book, the timing behind it, and the history behind it, and the sacred why behind it?
Well, first of all, you're 100% accurate. There's no better time with all the uncertainty, geopolitical unrest going on in our world to talk about how to build wealth and generational wealth when there's a lot of confusion out there. It's why I wrote this. So we started this, Sam, about a year ago. And I wanted to write the book because every day I'm asked for 32 years of my career to look at someone's portfolio, give feedback on an investment, or they ask, how do I get into real estate, commercial real estate? How do I invest with you passively? We hear this nonstop. And I said, I quickly learned that most people throughout the world just don't understand how to generate wealth. And it's a misnomer out there. And so they don't understand assets. They don't understand money. And the number one asset that we all have is time. And these are all tools to build wealth. And I felt that there wasn't a good knowledge out there, someone teaching it properly. And because of my vast experience and my colleagues, I said, we are the ones that should be shepherding this message. We're the ones that are living it. We want to teach it. And most of all, people don't understand about investing in medical properties, which is a huge niche of ours. And I was determined to be the go-to expert in medical real estate 22 years out of my 32 years ago. And I was surprised how many doctors who I met didn't understand investing in medical properties. It was shocking to me. So once I wrote the book, Sam, I knew I had to go another step further. I knew that I had to teach people how to build a hard asset empire because it wasn't being taught out there. And so what ended up happening is I said, well, why should I teach this? And the foundation is it's a place where someone can generate, retain, compound, and defend wealth that they're looking for. And a lot of people are looking, how do I build wealth, and asking questions. And so what I decided is I said, well, I'm going to create a vehicle. I'm going to make it actionable and visionable. So everyone in the world, whether you're broke, just getting started like I was 32 years ago as a young Ben Reinberg, to a billionaire, can pull this book off the shelf and use it anytime they want. It's an evergreen type book because I want to teach people and help them create generational wealth, not only for them, but their families. And so what I did is I created this hard asset blueprint. And the blueprint, which I have a copy right here so eloquently, and it allows you to really understand how to build your fortress. But even if you have a fortress or you're starting to build this castle that we create, we talk about what are you missing? There's a lot of things that change over history. And we look at now, we get thousands of emails pouring into Alliance every single day. I'm sure everyone out there listening gets a lot of emails, a lot of texts, a lot of data traffic. And you really have to be careful with your data now and be private and secure. And so we talk about this. We talk about your mindset. How do you build a hard ass empire? How do you show up every day? How do you present yourself? How do you make sure that you're balanced and that you can become the best version of yourself? A lot of people don't know this, but I meditate 2 to 3 times a day just to be able to deal with the constant chaos that I have going on in my life in making constant decisions in business and in life with employees and leadership team, et cetera. So this book is just more about building generational wealth. It's about what are the processes and this holistic approach to doing it. It's not just, I'm going to buy hard assets. It's about how do I deal with it? How do I retain it? How do I defend it? How do I show up in life? How do I deal with people? And not only that, I also share war stories to make it real authentic for everyone out there. So if you're looking and you're saying to yourself, and why I wrote this book, if it's for someone out there, this young man or man or woman out there that's saying, I'm just confused. I'm tired of living in uncertainty. I'm tired of having no direction. Because pictures are worth 1,000 words. That's why I created the blueprint. Because I know there's a lot of people out there that are visual. And they say, well, how do I do this where someone's not preaching to me, but they're teaching me? And that's what I want to do. That's how I live my life. I'm a teacher. Even though I'm this real estate mogul that's been doing it a long time, I've always been a teacher because for everyone out there listening, if you're going to be a good leader, okay, now you have to be empathetic and a good listener, but you have to teach. The way you inspire people is teaching them, building rapport and constantly teaching. That's how I've been a leader for so long, and that's why I recommend for everyone.
Yeah, beautiful. Thanks. Heard. And so this started about 32 years ago. So this has 3 decades of hard fought and experiential knowledge and wisdom behind this book. And then also, you're literally laying out a foundational, holistic blueprint, which draws upon, I heard you mention certain things, not only about the investing, the business component of it, how to defend it, how to meditate and be clear enough so that you can build empathy and deal with the problems in a clear way and make decisions that are going to lead you towards kind of building that generational wealth, not only for yourself, but also for your children. And there's like a blueprint which can range from not only the beginner doctor, for example. I was shocked to find in medical school, they don't teach you anything about business. And then you come out of medical school as a doctor, and then you realize, like, oh shit, it's a business out there. And then you don't feel equipped to handle the business component of medicine. And it sounds like in this book, you've laid out the blueprint for all of those components to come together in a holistic way with 3 decades of experience behind it. And Ben, can you dive into a little bit into kind of the person out there? This is just planting a seed for a lot of people out there saying, yo, I do want to build generational wealth for my kids. I do want to build generational wealth. Talk to us a little bit about what you do with that seed and how you can nourish that seed and take that seed to the next level.
Well, the biggest thing is that I teach people is focus on a niche. A lot of people are spread so thin. They feel like, hey, I got to own 10 businesses. I got to do this. They're always in this rush. And I tell people to slow down. When you can slow things down, things speed up. And so one of the things you want to do is focus on niche. So for example, if people say, well, Ben Reinberg, what's your niche? It's commercial real estate. That's what I double down on. That's my expertise. That's what I've grown for 3+ decades. However, as I'm building my hard asset empire and I'm growing my net worth and my liquidity, what I do is I invest in smart money. And so people are out there, well, what is smart money? Well, smart money is investing in people that are experts like us. If you want to grow your empire in commercial real estate, which a lot of people do, they invest in my company, Alliance. and our investment opportunities, and that we build wealth for them. That's smart money. If I'm going to go invest in crypto, I want to invest in the best person that has been there, done it, understands it, understands security and digital assets. That's smart money. So, because time is your greatest asset. I'll give you an example of what we've done in my office, which I thought was amazing. So, 3 years ago, we brought in our chief people officer. We have a human behaviorist that works full time in our company. And she came into Newport Beach into our office, and our leadership team, we flew everyone in, sat around a table for 2 days. And one of the exercises we did was talked about time. And we said at that point, the average life expectancy was 77 years old. Now, everyone can say, well, Ben, it's really a lot higher. Maybe it is. But let me just give you an example. So I'm 55 years old, 77. So if you take 77 minus 55, I have 22 years left to live. Times 52 weeks a year, that's about 1,144 weeks left. So if I have 1,100 weeks left, Sam, to live in my life, that's going to impact the decisions I make, who I hang around, the podcasts I go on, what's important to me. And it's different because a younger person that's maybe 28 that works at Alliance is going to look at things differently. But if you value time, okay, then why are you going to open up all these different companies and have all these different niches and expertise? Because you start diluting your time to become an expert. So I tell people, focus on one niche, become that expert, invest your capital with smart money. That's how you build the empire. That's how you control your risk and security. Because most people say, well, how do I build a legacy? How do I build this empire? And well, you want to create multi-generational wealth. And to do that, you have to not only diversify, but you have to invest with smart money. You're not going to have a choice. But you also have to double down and say, what's my niche? What's my expertise? And focus on that. You get rewarded in life for focus. And so people out there say, my biggest issue, Ben, is control and security. That's why we created the hard asset empire and the blueprint. They want freedom. They want a peace of mind. They want their own autonomy. Everyone wants to be their own person and have their own autonomy. And that's why this book is created, why it could help. And so it's really visually engaging and actionable. And that's what I wanted. And so it's accessible to all. And it's a real true companion guide that you can have forever. And that's why I'm really excited. It just dropped a week ago. Hardcover just came out. It's on Amazon, and people are just gobbling it up because it's something that hasn't been done, and that was my way to give back. The book is not about me. It's about you. I wrote it for you out there listening because you've been asking the questions of how do we do this, and I'm giving you the answers in an actionable and visual way.
Yeah. And it has 3 decades of experience behind it. And you know how people say if you put like 10,000 hours into one field, you become an expert. So you have, probably 30,000 at least hours into kind of the weight of the book and the words that you're speaking. And I like what you said there. Time is your greatest asset. And to double down on a niche and to create smart money, a flow into a niche, which establishes you as an expert. And it's smart money. And if I heard you correctly, it's like you want to invest your time and your money into places and people that are the experts in their field that know what they're doing. And if obviously you put in 10,000 hours, you can become a niche and an expert. And this playbook that you've written is the guideline, the playbook, the blueprint for anybody. It doesn't matter where you are in your development, the blueprint of how to do it is there. Yeah, and Ben, talk to me a little bit about your hero's journey. I know there's like some key words that I want to just throw out there and just kind of, like you said, focus. I also, browsing your Instagram, I was able to see like be great gratitude, being grateful for what you already have, and developing a gratitude practice, focus. Talk to me a little bit about the mental component of building generational wealth and why self-care might be valuable when it comes to creating generational wealth.
Well, I took a step back years ago and I didn't like what I was seeing in the mirror. I was a kid from Chicago and you had to be real tough in business. And no one taught me business. I had to swim on my own. And it's why, it leads into the book. We're also doing courses that support the book, which is really exciting. And I look at that experience and say, well, what got me to this point? Well, you start, the first third of your career, you're on your back. Second third, you're on your feet. And the last third, you're swimming on your stomach, which I am now. I'm a prime of my career. And I look back and I say, well, what could have done better in my 20s? And it would have been personal development. I didn't get into personal development till about, I would say probably 12 years ago, really doubled down on it. And I had some mentors from around the world and we talked about it. And I started meditating and I started journaling and I started looking within myself because I said to myself, for everyone out there, I said, why am I not happy? I was seeking happiness from others instead of seeing it within myself. And once I was able to kind of work on myself and really double down and spend the time and took years working on myself and said, how do I end up loving myself? How do I become this person of who I want to become and inspire people? And I realized that if I don't work on myself and show up in a better manner, all these people that I support and that follow me, it doesn't serve them. And so I took a step back and I said, okay, I don't have to be this tough business guy anymore. I could be compassionate. I could be empathetic. I could be understanding. I could become a better listener. I could seek the truth in what other people are saying. And that was an important concept for me, doctor, because I took a step back and I said, what does that really mean? And I realized that if I could seek the truth in what other people are saying, my whole world would change. And that was an exercise I had to learn. I had to learn about my four personas inside of me. I had to learn what being in a state of love really meant and not in a state of fear. I had to go through some real dark times as an individual by myself in order to get to this point. And it's not easy. It's not easy looking yourself in the mirror and saying, how do I get better? How do I become the person I want? Where do I need to work on? And most people aren't willing to look at themselves in the mirror and say, who am I and what do I need to work on? It wasn't about success at that time. I've been successful. I have my own freedom, but I wasn't having the freedom inside of me to say, because I had to be this certain businessman and this certain type of person and build this thing and grind and work hard and do all these things. But the one thing I was neglecting was myself and loving myself. And so once I took a step back and realized why I wasn't happy and why I was looking at myself in the mirror and saying, I don't like the guy I'm looking at, my whole world changed. Once I started working on myself, for everyone out there in personal development, it allowed me to become a better person. It allowed me to become a better leader, a better businessman, a better family man, a better friend, colleague. My whole world changed. And it really inspired me. And so when people ask me, and I get this question all the time, it's like, what would you change when you first started? I said, if I would have known about personal development when I was in my 20s, I couldn't even imagine the man I would be right now. I would be completely different. But you know what? You live and learn, you go through life, you expand, you learn from people, you see what works, what doesn't. And I wouldn't change a thing because it's allowed me to get to this point where I could say to myself, okay, what do I need to work on? And every day I look at working on, and I check myself. I'm like, all right, that didn't go well, or that went amazing. I'll be in the middle of a negotiation and it went incredible. And a lot of it has to do with the ability and the work I put in. I put so much work on myself. I meet people, I could be 2 or 3 years ahead of them in personal development. And so I become very spiritual. I do believe in the universe. I believe things happen for a reason. I think people get together just like you and I met for a reason, to connect. And it's allowed me to kind of go deeper on myself and become, an incredible person and businessman that now I love and I appreciate. And a lot of it is gratitude. Is every day I write down a few things I'm grateful for every morning. And I might even send a text to people. I might send you a text saying, hey, I just want to thank you for meeting you and the words of wisdom you gave me. And so, one of the things I think we lose touch on is that appreciation and gratitude for other people that help you get through life or just give you advice. And one thing I teach people is that Don't discount anyone. I'm not above
Mm,
anyone, and I never will be. If I meet the barista at Starbucks and she gives me a word of knowledge or just says, have a good day, whatever it is, appreciate it. Appreciate it. Maybe she tells me something that gives me some knowledge or a thought or changes my mindset on something that changes my day, changes the week, whatever it might be. And so having an open mind and really living in that state of gratitude and appreciation goes so far in life. And I didn't realize that for a long time. And now I do. And that's the life I live. And it's just been incredible.
mm. So 12 years ago, you decided to take a look within and take responsibility for your own happiness, that it wasn't outside of yourself. And that's like such a key point that I think, where you started to take extreme ownership of your hologram of, and then that it seems like you started to develop more empathy, better relationships with your family, with your business, with all these people around you. And when you started doing the work, and I hear you when you even say, even up to this day, up to 3 times a day, you're taking some space and time to go within and meditate. Ben, what have you noticed when you are in that clear state, when you are doing your meditation 3 times a day? How does the internal reflect that into the external? Even how has that affected your business starting 12 years ago, when you started to actually go within and take extreme ownership of yourself and your internal state?
Well, my personal experience is I'm more present. One of the things I
Mm,
wanted to work on is I want to be like when I'm here right now, I am with Dr. Sam Lee. That's my focus. Everything else is just out of my way because I want to be present with the person. Why is that important? Well, I build rapport, I show respect, I care, I become a better listener, I engage better, and we go deep when we do that. And the other side of the table that's listening to me or talking to me, it builds a better, deeper relationship because I'm more in tune, I'm more focused, I'm not worried, I'm more relaxed. And what that does is it shows up as a better version of me. Now, in business, what that translates to, and I'll tell you exactly, I was on a call.
mm,
We have a new multifamily division. We're about to take down our first asset. I was on a Zoom call with about 15 people. And my director of acquisitions in the he was worried. He's like, are we going to get this deal? And they're asking a lot of questions, this and that. All the questions that the seller wanted to ask, he didn't, because the rapport building was so deep and it was so authentic and so real that all the concerns and fears that he had about his buyer never even came up. And so those are powerful things when you walk into a room and you have this aura and this presence because you're focused and present and you're calm and you have confidence. It rubs off on people. People gravitate to you. You vibe at this frequency that you start attracting abundance in your life. And so I always try to live in a life of abundance. And abundance to me is being able to attract people into my life that I can help and serve and change their life. Just like coming on this podcast, if you're listening to me, and if there's anything I say that changes your world or your life or helps you, I've done my job. And that's what it's done for me. So the meditating, the focus, the listening, it's all relevant to building deeper relationships. And when you can build deeper relationships, more money, more opportunities, more resources, you name it, come into your life, and you have better, deeper relationships and throughout your entire life. And so for me, that's what was really important. And so when you can slow things down, everything speeds up. Life becomes easier. And I had to learn that. And I didn't know that until I started doing all this.
mm. Yeah, it reminds me of that saying, slow is smooth and smooth is fast. And when you're going slow and you're calm and you're present and you're centered and you're then all of kind of like, it's interesting. I'm very listening as you say, like all of the person's worries because you were so calm and centered in the middle of the meeting didn't even come up because it was like through your presence alone, you had already answered or like put to rest all of his supposed problems that might have been present if there was a rush or there was any sense of, and that frequency translates into abundance, the presence of, hey, right now I'm here with you right now and we are here and there's an abundance of time, abundance of space, and abundance, and all of you is welcome, and all of me is welcome. And in that space, if I'm hearing you correctly, that has led to actually a lot more in alignment and abundant relationships. And I love how you described abundance. You said you attract abundance into your life, which is people who are in alignment, which gives you an opportunity to serve them. Can you riff a little bit more? Because I feel like service is the end path of all spiritual paths. And what you actually said was a very deep spiritual kind of statement regarding abundance is an opportunity to serve other people is abundance. Can you riff a little bit more on that a little bit?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, one of the things I've learned for everyone out there is that when you can seek to understand before being understood, it's a huge principle because when you go and you network or you meet people, if you're looking to take from them instead of realizing who are they are, how can I help them? When you take the approach of helping people first, your whole world changes. It will help you build wealth faster, build deeper relationships. And I think a lot of people are so worried about their time and everything else, which I understand, but they're concentrating on what can I take from this person or this moment instead of saying, flipping the script and saying, how can I help this person? Because when you help someone, everything else opens up for you. More opportunities, more knowledge, better listening to them, building rapport. And so to go deep on abundance is if you want to create abundance in your life, give first. So if you're out there, okay, and you're going on a date or you're meeting someone, okay, if your first approach is to help someone, which is completely different than 99% of people, you'll see a different type of reaction and relationship develop. And so if you want to look at time and space, you're saying, well, how do I maximize that time and space? Well, if I take time to care about people and I'm looking to help them, everything else will become easier. You'll have more opportunities. You'll develop more resources. You'll be able to go back to that contact and ask for advice or maybe a resource you need and they'll help you. So when you lead with serving and helping people, life becomes a lot easier. And I know it's a concept that's kind of hard to get your mind around because it's like, well, if I constantly do that, like, how do I live? How do I make money? How do I do it? What will end up happening, you'll see, is life will become easier. That because knowledge is leverage. You know, my first season of my new TV show, I Own It, is all about leverage. And one of the levers you can use is if you don't have money or you don't have knowledge, giving someone first and serving is huge. I'll give you an example. So I was in Orlando a year ago and I'm speaking on stage. And this kid came up to me. It was brilliant. Okay. I was speaking for a while. I walked off stage. He walked up to me, gave me a bottle of water. Okay. I was thirsty. I was talking for a while. It was a brilliant move. He wanted to meet me. He was in commercial real estate. He wanted to ask me questions. He wanted to be able to connect with me. He wanted to get my information. The first thing out of the box he did was give first, which I was so impressed. And I still talk to him today. And it was so simple. And then he went a step further and he said, where are you going? I said, oh, I have a meeting, so-and-so, you know, with one of our lenders, blah, blah, blah. He's like, let me call you an Uber. Called an Uber for me. So the little things in life you do for people go a long way, and it's not forgotten. You think like, oh, people have amnesia, and they do. Don't get me wrong. We have a lot of data, a lot of information, texts, emails, phone call, you name it, coming at us, social media. It's constant. But if you can give first, okay, and you live by that principle and you seek the truth in what other people are saying, you'll see your whole world will change. I could tell you because I live it. And I have a lot of colleagues that live it too. They're wildly successful. And it's a simple formula that we really don't teach. But that's why I go on podcasts. That's why I talk about it. That's why I write this book and do the things I do, because giving first is kind of an art that doesn't exist out there. And if you do it, you'll see your world will change. I could assure you that.
That little statement of the last riff you just did, if people are listening at home, re-listen to that because it's such a simple statement, and I'm going to take that seed for sure. And I already know this, but like to hear it again is so beautiful to have that mindset when you go into anything. How can I give? And that story of this kid who just a bottle of water and call in an Uber. If that's the way you can give that way. And as that's literally a law, energetic law of the universe. As we seek to serve, as we seek to give, the doors will open up, the opportunities will open. And that's not even why we do it, but it will. And but it's that mindset going into every meeting. What's that little thing? And you said it can change your entire world, your entire hologram. And I find that to be true. And it's a beautiful reminder for me. Ben, we're in such an interesting space in humanity right now, financially, globally, politically. And I don't want to dive into like all those different rabbit holes or anything like that. But that's why I said, like, I feel like your book is coming at such a good time. There's nothing more exciting than, because chaos leads to opportunity. And we're talking about a tremendous potential opportunity right now for the person who can get that blueprint and execute that blueprint as you're talking about here. Gold, crypto, and real estate. Obviously, that's what you've chosen. Can you talk to us a little bit about where we're at right now? And for that person listening out there who might think like, yo, I'm late on the game or whatever it might be, any words of wisdom as it comes to gold, crypto, real estate, and just getting in the game?
Well, the number one thing you could do is what I call it, and it's called pulling the trigger, which is get started. Just get started. Even let's say you're an employee and you could pull out a couple $100 a month to start investing. Put your money in hard assets, okay? Whether it's you want to invest in real estate, you want to buy gold, you want to buy digital assets like cryptocurrency, whatever it is, just get started. I think a lot of people say, well, when I become wealthy or I have money, I'll start doing this. No, that's not how it works. You want to have the habits now to say, I'm going to take a little bit of money on my paycheck or a little bit of money on my earnings, or I'm an entrepreneur. I'm going to put some money aside every month or every week, and I'm going to start deploying it into hard assets. That's why I wrote this book. It's not just for the billionaire or the multimillionaire. It's for someone like Ben Reinberg was 32 years ago. I'm the same as you, for everyone out there listening. I had to start somewhere. I don't come from money. And so I had to start somewhere. And with that being said, is I learned just to get started, to pull the trigger. Now, I have a different story. My first deal when I was young, I bought a 95,000 square foot industrial building and went through that whole dance and started building wealth that way. But whatever you're doing, just get started. Like, pick your niche, focus on your niche, build capital, invest in smart money. That's why this book is for you, because it gives you the confidence in the roadmap, and it's visual and actionable that you can get started. To go with this, okay, I want everyone to know this, is that I develop courses. Because I go, the book is great, but now let's go a level deeper. Let's teach people. So we develop 4 courses. We develop a core foundation for everyone, okay, to learn. It's a step-by-step guide to essential principles. So like Sam said, whatever asset class you're going to focus on in your niche, we're going to show you what the core foundations is in class 101. Then if you want to go further, you go to class 201, the second level. It's incremental growth assets, and it's strategy for steady and stable growth. I show you when you're investing, what do you need to do? Okay. And then I go a step further. I go to class level 3. It's 301. It's called legacy and vision planning. So I teach you about long-term legacy and vision tactics and strategic vision that you're going to need to grow your empire. And then if you go a step further, the last class is called, it's 401, it's called advanced strategy. It's high-level tactics for maximizing impact. So my thought is, if you want to go to benreinberg.com, the Alliance Academy, which is where all these courses are, it's cheap. It's like 500 and something bucks for all these courses. And I made it cheap. The book is reasonable too, because I want to inspire you to get started and pull the trigger. So even though the courses are worth a tremendous amount of money, we're not charging that. We're giving the public an opportunity to say, come on in, learn how to build a hard asset empire, get the book, sign up for the courses. You'll be glad you did. And that's going to help you. So when you do pick your niche, whether it's crypto, to the stock market, to commercial real estate, any residential real estate, whatever is your poison, to you want to get involved in buying businesses, fix and flips. I mean, there's so many different ways to get involved in hard assets. But when you do and you have something and you have the blueprint that you can pull out anytime in your life and say, what do I need to do? What am I not doing? How do I retain it and defend it? Because people don't talk about asset protection. People don't talk about success planning. People don't talk about taxes and how to maximize it. And these are all the things that we're doing. And so these are the things that people can look for, because in uncertain times like we're living in geopolitical unrest and wars going on, everything going on in our country, which is there's a lot of uncertainty. Well, over time, it doesn't matter who's in office. It doesn't matter what's going on in the world. Hard assets has always proven itself to sustain itself. That's how I build my wealth. That's how I've become the person I am. And that's why I share this, because I think it's a misnomer that people just don't understand what a lot of the wealthy families out in the world do. And this is a huge, huge, important feature that they use in their portfolio.
What's up, beautiful souls? So I've been using peptides consistently and regularly for the last 2 months, and I'm telling you, it's been transforming my life. I feel clearer, my cognition, I have more energy, I'm sleeping better, and I'm starting to get ripped. And so the magic of peptides, if you don't know, there's short chain amino acids that go into your body and they signal certain pathways and they turn on certain pathways in your body, which mimics nature because we are nature. And so some of my favorites, I've been using NAD for energy, especially if you're after the age of 40. NAD can help with clear cognition. It can help decrease inflammation. It can help repair your gut. And when you use really high dose NAD, it can even cause like silent exorcisms. So it's been helpful for me in many ways. I take NAD in the morning when I wake up. I've also been using a microdose of semaglutide. Now, it's amazing right now how much energy I have. My appetite has gone down a little bit, but I feel clear and I feel a lot of energy. I used to kind of binge eat at night, and that's gone down significantly. The problem with a lot of people using semaglutide or GLP-1 agonists is they're on way too high of a dose. So you can talk to our peptide expert, which can literally formulate for you the perfect peptide cocktail. And remember, this is not research peptides. We're using pure pharmaceutical grade, clean peptides. We know exactly where they come from the pharmacy, prescribed by a doctor, delivered straight to your home with easy to use instructions on exactly how to use it. I've also been using CJC, which is helping me get ripped. I've been working out 2-3 times a week. And literally, I'm starting to already see within a month, like the results, I'm starting to see it, right? And so these are a few of my favorites, but there's peptides for everything. There's peptides, oh man, not to mention PT141. Some women describe it as a natural version of Viagra, which is not bad or harmful for your body. And so there's PT141, which can help increase sex drive and libido for women and for men, right? And it's as needed. So PT141, I have some of that with me as well. So if you don't know about peptides, what I highly recommend if you're just getting started is schedule a peptide provider consult with one of our experts. You're going to see on the screen here and below in the comments, you can sign up for a peptide provider consult and you can have a consultation with a peptide expert who's going to literally put you on the exact right regimen. And this is really about quality of life. And so it's been helping me a lot. So check out limitlesslivingmd.com, limitlesslivingmd.com. You can schedule a peptide provider consult, or if you already know what you want, order it on there. Use the code Dr. Lee, DRLEE, for 15% off. Love, light, peace, and truth to all sentient beings. Your greatest wealth is your health. And peptides are helping me, and I hope it can help you too. Shout out to the sponsors, limitlesslivingmd.com. So pull the trigger, find a niche, sign up for the course online. The blueprint will be written there for you, but the key is to get started. And it doesn't matter 30 years ago now, you got to get started somewhere. And Ben has put in 30 years of experience. And as you can feel it, the intention is to maximize impact and to teach each one of us how to create this generational wealth. Now, Ben, there's like some studies that show that within 2 to 3 generations of wealth, let's just say that I build wealth within the statistics show within 2 to 3 generations, the future generations are going to lose it. And obviously, as a psychiatrist, for me, this is the history. Obviously, like not what has to happen, but what people have shown is like. And I'm looking at it from like a dopamine. Oh, once if someone grows up in a certain type of environment, then the future children don't have that motivation, that dopamine. They don't come from anything. They're not inspired, and then they're not, and then they go into whatever. And then by 2 or 3 generations, a lot of the studies are showing the generational wealth is gone. And I know you talked a little bit about protection, asset protection. Can you talk to us a little bit about generational wealth, how to keep it, and how to protect it?
Yeah, I mean, one of the keys is that you start building it. And then you realize that a lot of wealthy families, when it goes down to their heirs, they start losing it because they weren't
Mm-hmm.
trained how to build it. And so you're going to learn how to build it, and then I'm going to teach you how to compound it and retain it and defend it. And part of that is understanding taxes. It's going to be surrounding yourself with great resources. And I talk about building a team of resources and how important it is, having good accountants and attorneys, having good financial advisors that you need, etc. These are all the different ways that you're going to protect your assets. You're going to get into estate planning and asset protection. And these are all the things you need to do as you start building your hard asset empire. So as you grow, and I tell everyone out there, is start building your resources. Start asking questions. What do you do? How do you help people? Here's what I do. I'm building a hard asset empire. Here's my niche. This is what I like to invest in. What are things I should be considering? Here's my blueprint. The blueprint helps bypass a lot of those financial advisors that you're seeking to, because the blueprint's exactly what they're doing, but we do it on a different scale from experience. And so for everyone out there listening is that you want to surround yourself with good people. And there's a saying, show me your friends, I'll show you your future. Everyone out there, be very careful who comes into your space. Qualify them. Make sure you're maximizing your time with them and build relationships with them. And part of this is developing this inner circle to help protect you. There's a saying, who would you want in your green room if you were going on a show? You'd want people that would go to bat for you, that would defend you no matter what. And that's what you want in your life, especially advisors and a surrounding staff of people that are going to help you build this and retain it and defend it. And so it's really important is that you put a lot of time into developing resources. And when you get those resources, nurture them, feed them, whatever you need to. That's going to help you protect your empire you're building. So the foundation is be careful who you're surrounding yourself with. Ask of, do I want this person in my green room if I was going on a show? Is it someone that I want representing me? If times are tough, are they going to be there for me, or are they just there when things are glorious? These are the things you have to think about. And these are the foundation principles that are important of defending and retaining your hard assets, especially as you're building wealth, is show me your friends, I'll show you your future. And you're going to go on a Friday night and go out drinking beer with your friends, and you're going to complain of, why am I not building wealth? Why am I tired? Why am I not staying healthy? Whatever it is, it's the same old thing. It's the discipline. It's the time you put in. It's all relevant to defending your empire. I train with a trainer 5 days a week, and I do it for health. And obviously I feel good and have energy, but I do it because it makes me the best version of myself. It's part of my holistic approach of having health and working out and eating healthy. I don't drink alcohol. You saw me, we're doing stem cells together recently. I do all these things because I want that extra advantage to not only be able to serve and help people, but to show up as the best version of myself.
Yeah. Tell me who you're with, and I'll tell you who you are. And, according to psychiatry, psychology, just by spending 10 minutes with someone, you literally start to acquire their traits. And when shit hits the fan, you find out like who the real ones really are. And, it's kind of interesting because like what I found is like, at the end of the day, like through this process of building generational wealth, it's almost like you're challenging yourself to become the best version of yourself, because you have to learn about teamwork, you have to learn about discernment, you have to learn about discipline, you have to learn about taking care of your physical, emotional, mental, spiritual, you have to learn about accountability and taking a look within yourself. And so this journey into generational wealth is also a deeply kind of personal mastery, personal development type of thing. And as you master yourself, then you master the game as well. And you've laid out this blueprint from 3 decades of being kind of in the game and working on yourself. Now, I know you mentioned here, and I don't want to end on this, but like the war room. Tell me a little bit about this, the spirit of when you're going, because like I'm learning this little by little, is like there is a war room, and like how do you show up? What is it all about? How do you stand your ground, stand in your power, stay in your values, look people in the eye, see both light and dark. Talk to me a little bit about the war room and what that is in business, and any advice there.
Well, I mean, for a long time, I live in the warrior state, and that's my
Mm,
business state. That's the guy who shows up and is the warrior in business. And I had to
mm,
take a step back and say, well, I gotta be the magician. I got to be the guy. I got to be the teacher as well. I got to be the sage, as they say, and learn how
mm,
to teach. And then I got to be the person that loves. And so I had to learn about
mm,
my four personas. But, when you're in business, every day it shows up. It's a war, it's a grind, especially in commercial real estate. And so to be able to work on myself and take a step back, and like I talked about, slowing things down, seeking the truth and what other people are saying, it kind of changed the warrior in me. It
mm,
made it a little bit more the ability to attract people, create a different frequency out in the world of who I was, so to speak. But at the end of the day, um, we live in tough times. We live in complex times. I mean, everyone agree it's very complex out there. It's a lot of information going on. We have a lot of data, a lot of false data, stuff you're siphoning through what's true, what's not true. And it's a war out there. But how you're going to show up as the best version of yourself is going to allow you to think clearly. It's going to allow you how you're going to treat people. And so as you're going through your own war and your own journey, your own battles and processes and relationships, if you can create this environment where you're happy with yourself and you love yourself, you will attract great people in your life. And so to go back to how to defend and retain your empire, that's what you want. And so when we talk about personal development, a holistic approach, think about that concept. If I'm going to protect this empire I'm building, don't I want to attract the best people in my life? People that are on the same page, people are going to not drain my energy, people are going to support me, people are going to show me love like I'm going to show them. It all goes hand in hand. And it's the little secret to success that everyone's looking for. But it
mm,
starts with you. It always starts with you. When something happens in my life, Sam, the first thing I look at is, okay, how did I create that? Because I'm
mm,
responsible. Yeah, maybe the person has problems. Maybe there's issues. Maybe I wasn't looking to help them. Maybe I wasn't listening. Maybe I didn't show up the best at that point in time during my day. But everyone out there, when something happens, you're partially responsible for that, for whatever happens. And people lose that. And for me, I think everyone, if you're going to deal with your life on a daily basis, wouldn't it be better if you show up as the best version of yourself and you try to find happiness within yourself? Because everyone else will gravitate to it. And it's so simple. When someone asks me how you doing, I say I'm fantastic. I'm great. Because that's my attitude. If I come into you and you say, how you doing? Well, I've had a rough day and things are hard and blah, blah, blah. It creates this atmosphere and this vibrant, this frequency out there that people don't want to gravitate to. But everyone wants to gravitate to someone that says, hey, I'm fantastic. How are you? Even if I'm having a rough day, if I could at least build something with you to say, hey, everything's great, fantastic. I'll deal with my own stuff because I'm going to work on myself. But if I can help you in any way, that's a difference. And so that's what changes your world. If you show up during the day and you're happy, how much better is your day than, hey, I'm coming into this thing negative and life is tough and I'm worried about money and I'm worried about this relationship and I'm worried about this. We all live in that state of fear. And so I talked about living in a state of love. State of love is exactly that. Is how am I going to live this life full of love to help people and eliminate the fear? Because tough times don't last. Tough people do. And that's what I show in the book. And so to deal with your own war and your own chaos in your life is take care of yourself, work on yourself, become the best version of yourself. Figure out how to find happiness within instead of externally from others. And all this will culminate into a great life of success and happiness and fulfillment. Because we're all looking for fulfillment and how to be fulfilled. And the best way to find that is within yourself.
That is a gem right there. The last is, it reminds me of like that book, I forgot who was Victor Frankl. The last thing that anybody can ever take from anybody is a human right of their attitude. And that little tweak from inside of like, yo, this is a shit day, I'm having a tough time, to like, no, my attitude, I can decide in any single moment. I'm blessed and highly favored. I'm doing fantastic. And that switch of that little attitude of that frequency will radiate into the, okay, how can I serve other people? And it will start attracting that into my life, into our lives, into our hologram, which will ultimately lead to more opportunities, more fulfillment. And there's been so many gems that I'm taking personally from this interview. Now, Ben, if people want to work with you, if they want to find you, where can they find you? How can they connect with you? And where can they find the book?
Well, a lot of people want to invest in commercial real estate and invest with us passively. You can go to alliancecgc.com. That's alliancecgc.com to learn to find the book and to even take courses and learn how to build a hard ass empire. Go to benreinberg.com. That's my personal website. It has the academy on it. You can order a book. You can go to amazon.com and get the book, Hard Assets and Hard Money for Hard Times. And so if you're living in uncertainty or just want to learn just a facet of your hard asset empire or how to improve it or how to build it, retain it, compound it, defend it, whatever it is, go pick up the book. It's very cheap. You can get on Amazon.com or Barnes & Noble. You can even order on my website too. And so we have a lot of accountants, financial advisors, and a lot of people out there ordering books in bulk to give it out as gifts, which is a really nice gift for teaching your clients how to build a hard asset empire. So it's all there. And feel free. I mean, I do speak around the country, and feel free to come out and see me. You can see everything on the website. You go to benreinberg.com and my whole universe is there. You can figure out where to follow me on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, any of the social media platforms, YouTube. Feel free to watch my show, Ben Reinberg. I own it. It's going to be streaming soon near you. It's currently on YouTube. And it's great lessons. The first season was leverage. Second season was obsessed, because you got to be obsessed to be wildly successful in business. And the third season we're going to be filming soon, which is really, so stay tuned. But these are all ways that I'm giving back to educate you, to help you. So if you go on to benreinberg.com, you'll be able to grab what kind of content you need to help you, because my content is not about me. It's about how am I going to serve and help you and create impact.
Yeah, absolutely. So everybody check out benreinberg.com. And real quick, Ben, I know you mentioned Alliance CJC. And so like we're talking about smart money here, and Ben is an expert at, commercial real estate with decades of experience. Without going too deep into it, can you just briefly, I know you mentioned this to me when we're getting stem cells, but like you invest in medical offices. Can you tell us a little bit more about Alliance CGC?
Yeah, Alliance CGC, we are a fiduciary of capital. We're principals in the business. We're the landlord. We own commercial real estate around the United States. We have different asset classes that we've owned and have a lot of experience. It's office, industrial, retail, multifamily. We do hard money lending. We're a leader in the medical office space. We've been doing medical office, acquiring it, owning it, and managing it for 22 plus years. The human body is never going out of style. The Alliance Medical Fund is thriving. We still have opportunities that people can invest in the Alliance Medical Fund. It's doing extremely well. And that fund will acquire a handful of assets around the United States they're assets with tenants that you and your entire family would go see a physician for. Anywhere from orthopedic to gastroenterology, neurology, surgery centers, dialysis, you name it. That's what we own around the United States. And so Alliance CGC is a company where we buy hard assets, specifically commercial real estate. We have high net worth individual investors, credit investors, and family offices around the world that invest in our investment opportunities.
Yeah, awesome. Check it out, benreinberg.com. Hey, Ben, thanks so much for taking the time, sharing your wisdom, 30 years of experience and love with our audience, man. Appreciate you. Thanks for being on the show.
Thanks, Doctor. It was great seeing you.